Hey everyone, it's Martyn Sibley here, presenting the first of a series of podcasts with Iansyst, who are based in Cambridge. And I'm joined today by Mark and Gill, live from their offices, I believe. Is that right, guys?
It is, yes.
Hi there.
And I'm only down the road in St Ives, but it was a little bit more practical just to do it via this fancy software. So thanks for joining today anyway. It'd be great if you could just start off sharing a quick bit about your roles and how long you've been with Iansyst and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Gill Hudson. I'm Head of Account Management and Training Services, which is a really fancy title that says I look after our big accounts and our training team. And I'm actually based in our other office in Edinburgh, as we have to.
Wow. Does you come all the way down from Edinburgh for the meeting?
Sort of weekly. I'm here quite a lot.
Okay, nice. And yourself, Mark?
My name is Mark Woodward. I've been a workplace coach, an assistive technology trainer, and a workplace needs assessor for about 10 years now.
Fantastic. That's really helpful to know. Cool. So I think to get us kicking off here, I want to start with the government's pledge a year ago was to get 1 million more people, disabled people, into work. So from your roles and just being at Iansyst and all the businesses you work with, have you sort of felt that businesses have been taking action since that pledge?
I'd say yes.
Yeah.
We've certainly worked with more companies and helped more individuals in different places. And that is throughout the whole of the UK, which is actually excellent. We get quite a lot of interest on what we can do and what we can do for people. And yeah, I just feel that we've helped a lot more people in the last year within workplaces.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
We as a company are being asked to have much more conversations with sort of medium, large-sized companies about how they can better include people and what they should be doing and what other companies are doing. So yes, definitely a lot more open to those sorts of conversations than it was.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear. It's great obviously, that government's, sort of putting their neck up and saying, right, we're going to change this, we're going to improve it, that there's been a reaction and some activity as a result already.
Yeah, and it's kind of a chicken and an egg thing, I suppose, because actually, yes, that's definitely been a big factor, but also they're just genuinely, in general sort of population, seems to be much more of an awareness about this type of thing now.
Yeah.
Speaking, people do seem to be a lot more aware of this. So yeah, I think a lot of things are coming together at the moment. That's
interesting. I know a few of us have been saying on Disability Horizons that, for whatever reason, I think the Paralympics maybe have had some input, but generally when you turn the TV on or there's a radio, news piece, there's a lot more attention on disability. So I guess it's that general kind of movement has been really positive. So, I mean, of course, we're not, pretending that now everything is sorted and 1 million are now all in work and everything's hunky-dory. What do you think the perceived barriers of businesses are?
I think at the moment it's still very much a desire to want to be doing the right thing, a desire to be seen to be doing the right thing, but actually there's still quite a lot of confusion and lack of knowledge about actually what that meant. How do we do this as an organisation? How do we actually make this work on a practical operational level? Even things like understanding, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, access to work processes and what have you. There's still quite a lot of learning to be done there.
So there's that willingness and intention to make a difference and to employ more disabled people, but kind of the knowledge and the how part is where they need some assistance. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. And as you mentioned, access to work. I don't know if you want to, I don't know if with either of your roles particularly cover access to work. Are they under both of your remits?
Yeah, probably both of us. We work with some of the organisations that are funded by Access to Work, and we also work directly with commercial organisations who don't go via the Access to Work scheme. So we sort of have a twofold way of.
Yeah, we're kind of quite a nice position. Yeah. Actually, we sit from both sides. So if an organisation decides to go via Access to Work, then we step in as a provider for some of the recommendations that have come from that Access to Work assessment.
Right.
Alternatively, there are reasons for organisations not to go via Access to Work, in which case organisations like us will actually provide the whole thing. We will start the assessment and coordination.
Sure. So for anyone watching that hasn't come into contact with Access to Work, because I think the idea of these podcasts is partly to, to help spread these messages that are very important to new people. So would you be so kind enough to kind of share what Access to Work actually is?
Is that me or you, Jim?
I think that's you.
Thank you.
I love that. To me.
That's quite normal. So, Access to Work is a government-funded scheme that's designed to help organisations accommodate employees with disabilities. Okay? And how it works is that an employee with a disability will contact Access to Work. Used to be via Job Centre Plus, but now we can do it all online and everything else. Access to Work, first step, will be to send someone to you and your workplace who will sit with you for a short while and understand what your role is, what your specific difficulties within that role are. They will then go away and make a report with suggestions for adjustments that your employer could make to help you. Okay? Following on from that, Access to Work will then also help your employer with the funding for those adjustments in lots and lots of different ways. Okay, and the amount of funding will vary and so on and so forth. But generally speaking, that's where the pot of money comes in. Yeah. So it's to help employers accommodate their businesses better for their disabled people.
Yeah, that's cool. And that fits in. Obviously, as much as presenting the podcast, I'm a wheelchair user, and I've worked at a big charity in London, and now I'm self-employed, and I've used Access to Work over the years, and that fits in with the assessments that I went through. And I think that the point you made about the pot of money is quite important, because one of the other things I was going to ask you was around this perception. There's a lot of the times we're looking at this word perception and trying to dispel those myths that have appeared. And I'd imagine that a lot of businesses think that it costs a lot more to employ disabled people, which I believe the think tank Reform have actually shown in their research that the productivity is the same whether you're disabled or not. And then the fact that Access to Work cover those costs, that kind of squares everything off quite nicely in theory, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that area around the sort of dispelling the myth of additional costs, is that something that you've heard or run into before with businesses?
It's definitely one of the barriers that gets talked about.
Yeah.
Maybe not explicitly in terms of finances, but it's definitely there. Yeah. And actually, although the Access to Work scheme is a brilliant scheme, again, I think they haven't been the best at promoting themselves, if that makes sense, because there are still very, very many businesses, senior managers within businesses that simply don't know what it is. And I think that's kind of where the learning needs to be done.
Interesting. So from your perspective, Gill, do you feel that the HR professionals, I mean, as Mark said, there isn't enough awareness, but do you think when you're managing the clients that have they heard of Access to Work before? Have they maybe heard of it, but then they're not quite sure what it does? What's been your experience with that?
Probably a bit of both, to be perfectly honest. Unfortunately, the people that we are working with are very, very much employing people with disabilities. But I would imagine there's quite a lot of people out there who we never speak to.
That's a good point. We kind of spend a lot of time preaching to the converted.
Yeah, I know that one as well, yeah.
Want to work with people with disabilities, are very willing to either fund it themselves or through the Access to Work scheme. So yes, they know about it, but we are talking to the people who are actively doing this. And I guess the point we'd want to sort of get out there is there are plenty of companies who may have people with disabilities that may be hidden disabilities and undisclosed, and this help is available for them.
Yeah.
So hopefully, what I would hope would happen from this is that people with hidden disabilities may disclose them to their company and educate others that access to work is there.
Yeah.
Because the people that will never come to us because they don't know about it.
Yeah.
So it is, yes, that awkward situation. There are lots of companies out there who
don't know that they don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense. So it kind of feels like what we've been through with this conversation is that there's a general upswing in kind of attention on disability and inclusion, not just in business, but including the government are now behind really trying to push it to be better, that there are more disabled people employed. There is the Access to Work scheme, which can give those recommendations, and also the funding for the recommendations that have a cost involved. And there's some awareness and action in business, but it would be great to raise the awareness of this agenda and access to work. So looking to the future, have you got any thoughts and wild ideas on how we can raise awareness more, and companies like Iansyst can obviously be a part of that program?
In September, we're running a conference in Cambridge on equality and diversity. This is aimed at businesses within the Cambridgeshire area, and we're inviting people like HR professionals, occupational therapists, and we will be talking about the advantages of employing disabled people.
Brilliant.
We also will be talking about the Access to Work scheme there and how they can get funding to help these people.
Right, that's fantastic. So it's really about trying to create dialogue and conversations between all the different parties. And I believe I'm going to be speaking at the conference as well. So I'm looking forward to it. And Mark, any final thoughts on sort of how we can raise awareness on this agenda to get more inclusion in the workplace?
In an ideal world, the government would run a series of adverts on the television in the middle of Coronation Street explaining all about access to work and the fact that it exists. But in the real world, it's going to be up to people like us and others to keep spreading the word, quite frankly, just raising awareness through all the different things that we're doing.
Yeah, great. And I mean, the plan with the podcast is I'm going to also be interviewing disabled people and sharing their experiences, and also businesses about their experiences of having access to work assessments and overcoming the barriers and employing disabled people. So through this series, we're going to be able to bring all this to life a bit more as well. But I really appreciate you taking the time out to help us set the scene and share the great work that Iansyst are doing. And I look forward to seeing you in Cambridge soon.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Martyn.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.